may never know.
Mr. Cow.
This cow is behind a fence that has no chance to contain him, even if I'm using my imagination, which I hate to do, and fill in the blanks. This fence isn't nearly high enough to contain a sentient cow. Also, this is a terrible world where a talking cow is put behind a fence and presumably performs all the usual cow functions instead of just being a part of society. Also, what the f*** happened to the ground and the sky? Are we inside a Tootsie Pop?
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Say Tootsie again. Say Tootsie again. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say Tootsie one more goddamn time. Threats of violence aside, isn't it clear that a Tootsie Roll is at the center of a sucker named for that thing? Maybe in 1970 it wasn't obvious for some reason, but I will be goddamned if I'm gonna research it.
I don't know. I always end up biting.
Is your family feeding you Tootsie Pops? Are they selling some sort of hard candied chocolate milk?
Ask Mr. Fox, for he's much cleverer than I.
For instance, he would end that sentence with me and not I. Also, how do we know Mr. Fox is much cleverer than your average cow? He wears sunglasses, that's how.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Kid, are you reading this shit off a prompter?
Why don't you ask Mr. Turtle?
Why don't you shut your whore mouth? This fucking asshole isn't fantastic at all.
Me? I'd buy.
Mr. Fox hints at a secret life that makes me envious.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I'm surprised this turtle didn't die in the middle of the question. Also, I guess this kid lives in a world where all the important questions are answered. Nobody asks why animals talk anymore. Nobody asks why the human race, except for this little boy, became extinct. The Tootsie Roll conundrum is all that's left.
I never made it without biting.
Look, you, Mr. Turtle. All that to say, even if these animals didn't suffer from low impulse control, they still wouldn't know the goddamn answer to this question, because only a maniac counts each individual lick of a sucker they're enjoying.
Ask Mr. Owl, for he is the wisest of us all.
Inferiority complexes.
Mr. Owl.
Oh, is Mr. Owl smart because he wears a graduation cap? Or is that an arrow pointing to the sky? Either way, I think this headwear is pretentious enough to savagely add a sin for it. Also, kid, can't you see that it's daytime and Mr. Owl is sleeping? You wouldn't ask your dead father this question, so why bother him? Also, the forest's optometrist is making a fucking killing in this area. They can manufacture these tiny turtle glasses and these huge owl glasses for a very select market willing to pay the price for such specialty items. I bet if you go to this optometrist's house, they have a giant safe filled with all the acorns. Swim in that, Scrooge McDuck.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I'm going to add 11,378 sins for the number of times this kid has asked this question in this exact way, with the same wording every single fucking time. Also, no, that's not the number of licks it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop. I made up this number. This number has never been the count of anything in anyone's life, so I went with it.
1, 2, 3, 3.
We all hate Mr. Owl because he's a total dick, but you've got to be impressed with his ability to take that entire sucker in his mouth and leave nothing behind on the stick in one bite.
If there's anything I can't stand, it's a smart owl.
That's very specific. Also, all of this serves you right, kid. You went through the entire forest looking for the answer to this question and you didn't ask one woman. Maybe this is fitting punishment for your obvious gender bias.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
These suckers wilting during this question is an accurate representation of my patience.
The world may never know.
Yeah, the answer is anywhere between 175 and 411 or something because some schools have tried to study it. And not surprisingly, Michigan is one of them. I guess you have to define what a lick is. Then you have to figure out if you're at the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop when it gets to that nebulous part where it's partially hard candy and partially chocolate core. Anyway, I'm glad back in 1970 there wasn't anything important going on in the world and we could ponder questions like these.
You think I'm late? You all think I'm late. Well, I'm not late.
Remember to also check out Cinema Sins, where we send movies, Music Video Sins, where we send music videos, and TV Sins, where we send TV. Also subscribe to Commercial Sins. Click the bell, like this video, slap your mama's ass. Oh, and check out cinemasins.com, which has all our videos in easy genre categories and links to our store where you can buy our sweet, sweet merch that we guarantee you will love. Guaranteed void in Tennessee.